بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم الحمد لله رب العالمين والصلاة والسلام على سيد الأنبياء والمرسلين أما بعد. So my topic is discussing scientific reports. Is it valid in Sharia? Can we consider astronomy and the scientists that are giving us reports about sighting of the moon and the calculation they're bringing up about the sighting of the moon? Is it considered in Islam and according to scholars? So this issue always starts whenever there's Eid and whenever there is a starting of Ramadan. We begin with this issue. So the first person to present to use astronomy and to use science reports was Allama Taqiyuddin Subki rahmatullah alayh, who was a Shafi Imam, and he's the one who introduced first. He didn't just introduce completely. He exempted only for negation, in denying the sighting. In denying the sighting, in Nafi you could use it. For Isbat, he still didn't consider of using astronomical reports and science reports in order to sight the moon. In negation, he mentioned, and when he mentioned this fatwa, his according to Jamhur, they have rejected his fatwa. They rejected his statement in regards to accepting astronomical and instruments and astronomical reports to sight the moon and to validate the moon. In rejection. Those who were the Shafi ulama who revered him, they even opposed his opinion in regards to this. Imam Nawawi rahmatullah alayh, Allama Ibn Hajar Haytami rahmatullah alayh, and Allama Tibbi rahmatullah alayh, they all rejected his opinion in regards to citing of the accepting astronomy, falkiyat. And later on, even Ahnaf, the scholars of Ahnaf also rejected, and Hazrat also mentioned that Mufti Azam Pakistan, Mufti Wali Hassan Tungi rahmatullah alayh, he also rejected his to use astronomy and science reports regards to the sighting of the moon for Islamic months. Can we use it or not? And the person who put tasdeeq on this was Allama Yusuf bin Nuri rahmatullah alayh, also said that this is the fatwa of Imam Subki is ikhtira' fi din. This is innovation within the deen. This is bid'ah. He's bringing bid'ah within the deen if someone accepts his fatwa. And Mufti Taqi Usmani rahmatullah alayh also mentioned that this is bid'ah in order to use astronomy and science reports in regarding sighting of the moon is bid'ah, and the fatwa of the statement of Imam Subki is shaz, is his personal thing, is his personal tafarrud. You can't accept it according to Jamhur have rejected this. Then go on to Mufti Rashid Ahmed Ludhianwi rahmatullah alayh. He takes even a stronger stance, just like others have taken stronger stance. And he was very good with astronomy, and he was very good with scientific reports with regards to the sighting, and he was excellent at it. He also mentioned that if you take the statement of Imam Subki, this is bid'ah, this is against the Sunnah. There is no room for it in the Sharia. And then he said this is the maslak, and this is the fatwa, and this is the statement of the deviant groups, Rafida. He said this is the masla of the Rafida. Mufti Rashid Ludhianwi mentions that this is a fatwa of the Rafida. They use instrument and calculation in regards to the sighting of the moon. As I mentioned, some of the elite scholars, and they have rejected the statement of Imam Subki rahmatullah alayh. And the biggest dalil for us is what? Is Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wasallam. His fatwa in regards to this, can we use scientific reports? Is it permissible or not? Rasulullah said, Inna ummatun ummiyatun. He said, we're the nation of illiterate. We're illiterate nation. لا نكتب ولا نحسب. Nor do we write, nor do we calculate. He said, الشهر هكذا هكذا, and he says, الشهر هكذا هكذا, and then he says 29. Then he says, and he says 30 with his Mubarak finger, and he says this statement that the month is either 29 or 30th. In this this hadith is very clear for us that we don't take any scientific reports, we don't calculate. The commentary of Mullah Ali Qari rahmatullah alayhi regards to this hadith, and he says we're an illiterate nation. He said that we are not in need of calculation, astronomical reports, astronomy. Rather, we have commanded to fast and break the fast upon completing the 30 days or completing the month. And then he said, this means that Sharia is deliberately choosing a simple method. The Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Sharia is deliberately choosing a simple method, sighting of the moon. Then he goes on. He said, we do not write nor recalculate. What does that mean? He said that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam he negated reliance on writing and calculation simply with regards to matter of fasting. Now what happens? People they say that, oh, we use science for salah. We use time. We use time, and we use we make calendars before time, and these reports are coming from the science. The scientific reports. What about those? He said, no. This hadith is particularly talking about fasting, inciting for fasting and for Eidain. That's what it's talking about. Then he says this negation is not description of incapability. This is not just because we can't sight the moon and we could use it. He said, but this is a legal, this is a hukum shari'i, that Rasulullah is making a hukum shari'i. This is not just because we're incapable of seeing. Someone might get a doubt, or maybe Rasulullah said it because he did not have the instruments and the means that we have today. We have NASA, we have different groups that could give us the report when can we sight the moon and so. And Mullah Ali Qari rahmatullah alayhi, he's saying that this is a legal Sharia hukum that he's implementing. He's not saying that because of description of incapability that we're not able to see it. He said, no, this is a Sharia hukum that we have to sight with our own eyes. Then Rasulullah said, "Ashhuru hakada hakada." Rasulullah explaining, showing with his fingers. He said, don't get distracted. Look towards me. I'm showing you. They're saying that that's how simple it is. This is a hukum of Sharia. I'm the one who's making Sharia in front of you. So just stay with this. Don't look for look after astronomers or look after scientists. He's making us to. Then he says, this means that Sharia took into account the natural lunar calendar. Naturally, that you could set a lunar calendar, and that's what you're going to go about in his commentary. And he goes on even more and further, and that there's no consideration of astronomical or scientific reports that we could use for sighting of the moon. And this hadith is clear. It's telling us what else more do we know? Do we want? There's a direct fatwa of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us and the hukum of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to us. So the problem that happens with with some of the scholars, they are going into astronomy and scientific reports to negate the sighting of Makkah Mukarramah, right? And they claim themselves that we're doing local moon sighting and we're reviving the Sunnah. It's not about reviving the Sunnah; it's fulfilling the fard first, right? So it's just like a person, I give a virtue of praying Sunnat of Dhuhr Salah, and he's so excited. A person gets so emotionally driven. He gets so much significance of praying the Sunnat of Dhuhr that he only prays the Sunnah of Dhuhr. He forgets the fard. So this is what you're telling us, that we're going to use scientific reports, which is negated by the scholars and negated by Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, and he made it very simple for us. Sumu li ru'yatihi wa aftiru li ru'yatihi. Right? He said, and he said, وَإِنْ غُمَّ عَلَيْكُمْ فَأَكْمِلُوا 30. This is, he's not talking about calculation, complete 30 days. He's talking about accurate number, they complete 30 days. And he's talking about accuracy. You cite, either you complete 30 days. There's no other room within it. So they use scientific reports to negate the citing of Makkah Mukarramah. That because of science reports, even within the science reports, there's so many. There's about seven observation that is done by the scientists, and each one of them are different from one another, right? So who are you going to accept? Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, even them won't be able to tell you the right calculation. Also, one you take that is in your favor, they're going to take their report. Which goes against it, they won't use it. Some reports, they say that there's much more chances for Makkah to sight the moon. Other reports says there's 0 chances to sight the moon. So which reports are you going to take from the scientists, which is validated and which is not? How are you going to differentiate? And none of them are according to Sharia. There's no Allama Shamsuddin or Qamruddin is sitting there is informing you about the reports, right? So who's telling you these reports, and who's giving you, who's to authenticate it, and how authentic they are, and so and so. And there's a great scholar, Maulana Muhammad Musa al-Bazi rahmatullah alayh, and he was a Shaykh al-Hadith, Ashraf al-Madaris, and he did great work, and he was astronomist, and he did in Falkiyat, he was master at. And he said, according to his report, and of course to the majority of the scientists, that the center of the earth is Makkah Mukarramah. And he said there's more chances because it's he says it's not just a geographical center of the earth, it's also a center of a spiritual hub for the Muslims. He says that. He said there's more chances of Makkah to sight the moon than anywhere in the world. There's more chances of Makkah to sight the moon in any of the world. And Musa al-Bazi rahmatullah alayh, he's in opinion of taking a support from astronomy. He's in support of that, which I mentioned, where Jamhur is not support. We do not consider, neither we take it as a support in Ru'yat. He's in support of that. Only except for the, he said, except for the sacred months, month of Ramadan and Dhul Hijjah and a few other months. He said except for that, you have to go with the sighting of Makkah. And he said rest of them, he says that you could use astronomy in order to detect which day is which month, right? And reason he said is because Makkah is also a spiritual hub, and as a central hub is, as Muneer mentioned, is Rahmatul lil Alameen, is the center of and he says other dalil, he says, is your Kaaba. So what better place that you would connect yourself? That's his statement in regards to this, which is promoting using science reports, but he's coming into a conclusion that the center of earth is Makkah, and there's more chances of Makkah to sight the moon than anywhere else in the world. And those who use other science reports is for you to rethink and relocate, assess your statement. It's if you really are into scientific reports, become scientists and fix the system. Give us proper system that you could come up with. We're not opposing science in any way, but in this matter we're opposing science, and we will not take. And when the only excuse they bring, because you use it for salah, if you take the clocks away, inshallah, Quduri student could tell you the time of namaz, right? He will be able to tell you what time the salah is, even if you don't have the clocks and if you don't have time, right? So now the other matter is, now what happens with this when we disturb our sighting of the moon? We do not accept what's happening from the time of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, Khulafa Rashidin, the Umayyad dynasty, the Abbasi dynasty, and the Mughal dynasty, and even Khilafat Osmaniya, we do not find any incident within one town that there was two Eid. Within one town there was one person is celebrating Eid, other person is still fasting. Right? We do not find that. You know, and what's happening here, not just in New York, within the same household, there's two. Father is celebrating Eid, and the sons are fasting. You know, so we do not find anywhere. So my father, what he said, what about this hadith? The Naha Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam an sawmi yawmi Eidain. What about this hadith? What Rasulullah prevented from people from fasting on the day of Eid? It's a common sense for a person. Generally, if it's Eid, there's no way a person would fast. It's Eid. Who would fast on the day of Eid? He might be crazy if someone is fasting on the day of Eid. You will call him he's lunatic. Something's wrong with him, right? But what we see forcefully, people who are engaged within the Deen, and they have a lot of responsibilities upon them, and they're very strongly practicing Deen, they end up fasting on the day of Eid. You know, global is celebrating Eid, and the other are forcing themselves to fast, and they will become. And Imam Nawawi rahmatullahi mentioned, fasting on the day of Eid is major sin. It's the worst sin that you could do. Right? He says one of the major sins, and he said that your ibadat of entire month is gone to waste. You might say that 29 days are safe, just one day I messed up. No, he said your ibadat of the entire month it went to waste. You know, just because you're fasting on the day of Eid. And other fuqaha mentioned that makes you associate of Iblis, because on that day a person that is fasting is associating himself with Iblis, because Iblis on that day, out of regret, he doesn't eat, he doesn't do anything, he doesn't drink. That these people are getting forgiven, and he end up fasting. He said you associate yourself with those people. So it then reminds us of the ayat, Amilatun Nasiba. That these people are working so hard. They made the effort of Ramadan. They fasted. They did itikaf. They stood up in Laylatul Qadr. All of them goes to waste as soon as they start fasting on the day of Eid. Right? So this is also for the scholars and the people who are watching, is to rethink your opinion. That when would this hadith will be implemented? It will be implemented in these type of fitna, in these type of chaos, when there's two extremes. The extremely, and how they perceive a person to fast on the day of Eid. They say that one fast is equivalent to your entire life. Your entire life you could fast, but you will not be able to complete the fast of one fast of Ramadan. Subhanallah is a great virtue of the month of Ramadan, right? Fast of the Ramadan. But this is not about fadail. This is about the hukum of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We're leaving out the faraid, but we're focusing on the fadail of the month of Ramadan. Is to focus on the faraid. What is the hukum? That he said not to fast, and not to fast on the day of Eid. And this and only way it would happen, and this is also a miracle of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that he said at that time that there will be a group of people who will end up fasting on the day of Eid, and they will force themselves to fast on the day of Eid. This is not just like it's not optional fast. They're forcing. They're coming on minbar and giving speeches. That anybody that leaves the fast, though they're leaving a fast of the fast of their life, right? They're enforcing people and giving fatwa to fast on the day of Eid and oppose the opposition. And when would you become this mistaq? Is this in these scenarios that we are in, misunderstanding one another, and misinterpreting some of the issues within ourselves. So may Allah give us the ability to understand what have been said. Wa akhiru da'wana alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen.